a recording of this webinar and send you an email to a link to access it in the near future. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask at any time, please enter it in the box below on your screen. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Ron Snyder, the president of Breakthrough Inc. and Plan to Win Software. He's consulted with many companies and trained thousands of salespeople, as well as managers, on sales effectiveness and territory and account planning. He has helped them significantly improve their sales effectiveness. And Plan to Win Software provides territory and account planning apps that work in Salesforce.com, enabling sales teams to create and manage sales plans to drive exceptional sales results. Ron, will you take it away?
Yes, thank you, Terry, and thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day. We have set this up to be a 30-minute overview of a few key topics, and those topics include talking about the challenge in the world today around doing a good job of getting the most out of your sales territory. Also, best practices around territory, creating a territory management process to help drive things and help the whole team produce the best results possible, as well as having effective territory plans. So we have synthesized over $1 million worth of industry research, and here are some of the interesting numbers that we found. First of all, 53% of forecasted opportunities did not close. So these are opportunities that people already forecasted to close, and they did not close. As a matter of fact, 26% of all sales efforts in the last couple of years ended in no decision. So obviously, it's a very challenging environment out there. Another interesting stat is that 25% of sales organizations had a win rate of less than 25% and only achieved 40% quota achievement. So it's a challenging time out there. However, top sales organizations are doing significantly better. They have win rates of greater than 60%, much greater than the 25% we showed before, over 65% average quota achievement. So there is a better way, and one of the things the research does bear out is that doing a good job of territory planning is one of those ways. So one of the key things is that with everything going on in the world today, with all of our devices and all of the information coming into us, it is very easy to get caught up in a reactive mode, creating a vicious cycle. However, sales organizations that are able to shift into a more strategic mode, where they create goals, and from those goals they generate strategies, and then those strategies help them create actions that produce their desired results, create a virtuous cycle. And so that's what we're going to talk to you about today. How can you do that, and how can you ensure that your team does that? So one of the things that the research showed is that sales managers felt that doing good sales strategy and planning was the most important lever they had in their bag of tricks. And the research also shows that sales planning increases growth rates, customer retention, and cross-sell and upsell. So this is an area that you really want to take some focus on. So what we've done is, synthesizing this research, we have created a sales planning proficiency model. And so if you look at this, on the bottom, you see planning, going from, on the left, reactive mode, to the right, strategic mode, and execution on the y-axis, going from the bottom as an ad hoc execution to the top being a more coordinated execution. And so what you want to do is you want to try to move away from the bottom left quadrant, in which you have very individual activity, very tactical, very deal focused. Obviously that's good, but you want to shift up to a more strategic mode where you actually have some strategic plan and coordinated execution. So we're going to talk about two best practices today. One is a territory management process that you want to establish and instill in your environment. And the second is creating effective territory plans. So one of the things that the research bears out is that world-class sales organizations did 25% better on key sales performance metrics. And the way they did this is basically they had some kind of methodology. They had an approach that they used. So they had criteria for establishing which accounts are strategic and which accounts and opportunities to pursue, how to allocate resources effectively, had a good method for advancing those opportunities, and they were very conscious about leveraging best practices across the team. So those are some of the things that you can think about that you want to instill in your environment. So we're going to talk about establishing this territory management and planning process. And the first thing you want to do is you want to set yourself up for success. So at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, and the beginning of the new year, you want to review last quarter, last year's results, set goals. One of the things that you might want to do along with this, which we have found to be very effective, is to do win-loss reviews and identify what are some of the things that we're doing that are not working and we want to change, and what are some of the things that are working, even if just a few people are doing it, and that the rest of the team wants to embrace. You want to review territory assignments. This is your opportunity to realign things and set things up so that in a tops-down way you're achieving the goals of the company, but in a bottoms-up way you're looking at how to best achieve that. And then you may want to instill some new methods, some new approaches like a territory planning and management process, or a new tool like a territory planning tool, etc. So if we look at the quarter as a 13 weeks in a row, how can you implement this process? Well, let's look across it. So first we said we want to set this up effectively. The first thing we do at the beginning of the quarter is we want to look at results and goals. And then the next thing is make sure that everyone has created some kind of a plan. If this is your first quarter really doing this, at least have everyone create a first pass plan, and then have management review that plan, give feedback, and then even a couple weeks later review as a team, see where people are running into trouble, and help them out. The next thing is to prioritize accounts and opportunities, identify your top accounts and opportunities, and create a strategy for each. Now, the strategy can be simple and straightforward, but it's very important to have some kind of a strategy that not only the team leader, the territory manager, is aware of, but also the key players that are going to support the production of that strategy. So then resource allocation, again, one of the things that set the top people apart was that they did a very good job of allocating resources. And so you're going to want to see how you can allocate resources effectively. You want to do customer reviews. Now you've got your internal plan, and maybe even you've worked with your partners on how you're going to approach your territory and your key accounts. What we have found is, at least for the very important accounts, to create a customer review, that can make a big difference in your results, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So then make sure you've got the right internal and partner support as you're going through. This might be week 6 or 7 into the quarter. And then make sure, of course, across focused implementation, sales management, sales executives, company executives getting out there to support the implementation of the plans, and finally the final push to try to accomplish the goals of the quarter, of the year, of the half. So I alluded to the notion of a customer business review. We've done this with a lot of our customers and have found that this is a very, very helpful thing. One of the things you want to do is be in alignment with the customer's business goals and objectives. That really sets the tone of the meeting. identify issues that they are having relative to your products and services and resolve them, help to resolve them right there. Show them how you've resolved previous issues that they might have had. And this is a great opportunity once you've done that to identify new opportunities, get an early warning signal of new opportunities as they're unfolding, maybe being the first player to play in that opportunity. And if you do all this, we have found that it's a very good way of getting senior management out and into a meeting that otherwise would have been difficult to meet with. So implementing the process, some of the key things is making sure you get leadership support, making sure that your leadership, the executives of the company, the sales executives, are on board and supporting the use of this territory management process that you're putting in place. Number two, clearly communicate the objectives, why we're doing this, how it's going to help the territory managers and the rest of the team achieve their objectives. Build it into the calendar. I've worked with a number of organizations who have done this, and this is a very powerful way of really getting people to do the appropriate things to maximize the production out of their territories. Also, manage to the plan of record. The plan of record would be, of course, the territory plan that's being created and updated as the quarter, as the half, as the year unfolds. And it's a good way of sharing learnings across the team, helping people actually do even better than they're currently doing. And finally, one of the key ways of making this all happen is celebrating the wins, showing how one of the team members or a number of the team members actually got incremental wins that they might not have gotten by using this process. So one of our clients said that territory management should be 75% of what a sales leader concentrates on because that incorporates the strategy and the tactics and how you execute it to achieve your objectives. So that was a territory management process, instilling a process in the team. We have a manager's checklist on our website that you're welcome to go to on the resource page, which we'll talk more about later, that really articulates this in greater detail. So now then the second best practice we want to talk about is having effective territory plans. Well, of course, that makes sense, but so many people, again, in today's world, are just sort of responding to what's coming at them, if you will, in the world. And so, as Salesforce.com says, it's very important to have a plan to achieve your plan. And that's exactly what this is. So, what are some of the key elements of a plan? Well, first of all, you want it to be in your system of record, your CRM, perhaps Salesforce.com. That way you can have it, it's visible, it enables you to review your plans, monitor progress, share the team across the team what the plan is and how we're using them to win. So here are a couple of examples of items from our territory planning app that are intended to be just that, examples of the kind of things you're going to want to look at. So first, of course, you've got to start with your goals. What are your goals? As we said, this is coming from top down and bottoms up. So here's an example. Of course, you have a quantitative goal. In this case, let's say I need to achieve $1 million in my territory, but you also want to be able to see how you're doing versus that. So it's very helpful to have some mechanism, an easy mechanism, for showing people how they're doing relative to having enough in their funnel to achieve their objectives. The second thing is more qualitative goals that are how am I going to achieve, let's say, this $1 million of sales production. Even in this, though, you want to try to be as quantitative as possible. So, for example, I want to double my revenue from last year. I want 50% in new accounts, 50% in current accounts, things like that. I want to focus on a new sector, a new vertical. Maybe there's a new opportunity with a new product, a new service, etc. Okay, so we've got our goals. Then we need to do a good job of analyzing our territory. Here is one of the mechanisms for doing that. It's called SWAT, Strength, Weakness, Opportunity, and Threats. Long been used in business planning for companies, and we have found that it's very effective in territory planning. And so you want to obviously look at what are your strengths relative to selling into this territory or this vertical. By the way, we're using the word territory. It could be a vertical market. And so what are your strengths? What are some of the weaknesses that you need to shore up and prevent against, if you will? What kind of opportunities can you take advantage of? Are there new threats? Are there new competitors? Are there new regulations? Et cetera. Okay, so we've got our goals, we've got our analysis. Then, okay, what are the strategies and tactics that we're going to implement to accomplish these goals? So, for example, it could be you have to identify new prospects. How are you going to do that? Maybe you need a marketing campaign. Maybe you need to penetrate new business units and current accounts, okay? And then you want to establish a set of tactics that are going to help you execute on that strategy, those strategies. And then, of course, at the end of the day, that must flow into your action plan. So how is that going to flow into the action plan? Okay, so we've got those 3 items: goals, territory analysis, territory strategies, and tactics. And now then, one of the key things that set the top people apart from the rest were they did a very good job of prioritizing accounts and opportunities. Now, in many cases, you have people who have a lot of accounts, and so you need to help them make sense out of which ones they should put their primary focus on. And as I said earlier, one of the key mechanisms is to have a set of criteria by which we determine which accounts and which opportunities we're going to pursue, and which are A, B, C, D accounts and then opportunities. So that's very helpful, and certainly sales management plays a very key role in that. Okay, so then the next is actually account and opportunity strategy. So at the account or the opportunity level, what are the strategies that I'm going to implement? And this needs to take into account some critical things like, what are the compelling needs that would drive this account to buy with us, or that would drive them to purchase for this particular opportunity? What are the account strategic initiatives, and how do they relate to this opportunity? What is our product and service? What are our differentiators? How are we better than either the competition, or in many cases, the key competitor is actually doing nothing or staying with what they are currently doing? So how are we better than that? And then when you look at their decision criteria, do they value our differentiators? And if not, that should flow into our sales strategy and identify ways that we can show them why our key differentiators should be part of their decision criteria. And then, of course, taking into account whatever else we need to do to win the deal or to penetrate this account. So those are the first 5 elements. And then the 6th is, of course, partners. You know, again, in this world where we are going so busy, so fast, it's easy to forget about partners or even informal partners in our territory, in our environment, in our vertical market, such as even people who sell into the same accounts and maybe sell non-competitive or even complementary products. Great to be sure to get together with them every once in a while, touch base with them, find out what's going on. They may know some things that are going on you don't, and vice versa, and you can help each other out, possibly even pass leads to each other. And then, of course, it all has to flow into an action plan. And it's very important that you not only have an action plan, but that you have a way of monitoring it and keeping track of it. One of the things that's important to do is to have reports that show how people are progressing against their action plan. And this is very important even for the territory manager to keep track of, again, with all the things that are going on, how they're doing versus action plans that they themselves created and that they need to execute. So this is a good way of staying on top of that. And then finally, of course, flowing into reports and dashboards that give you a good bird's eye view. Again, for the territory manager. How are they doing in their territory? What are their pipeline gaps? Is the pipeline gap very large? In this case, you can see we're going after the healthcare sector. We have a very large pipeline gap. Something to be aware of, something to take action on. It's also important to see how you're doing as far as amount of dollars versus stage of the sales process, because come the end of the month, the end of the quarter, the end of the year, this would identify accounts and opportunities that you can pursue. Another thing that's important to be able to see is how long are we taking in each stage? Are we taking too long? In this case, in the second stage of the sales process, we're taking a very long time. That should be a concern to the sales manager. This should spark thought and investigation as to what's going on and why are we taking so long in that particular stage. Maybe there's something we can do to help out, either travel with people or provide a new tool, etc. So the fundamental notion here is that you want to have actions guided by strategic objectives as opposed to just reacting to what's going on in the marketplace. So setting clear goals and having assignments to accomplish those goals, having high payoff accounts and opportunities and a way for focusing on that, having good strategies and managing to the plan of record and being able to really see what's going on to help the team out. So one of our clients said that these apps help transform Salesforce from a data repository into a strategic selling tool. And of course, that's what you want to do. Make this a strategic selling tool for people. So we've had many customers using our apps with good success. We have resources for you. As I mentioned, the Customer Resource Center, there's a manager's checklist that you might want to look at as to how to execute a territory management and planning process across the quarter. We have white papers, articles, and blog at plantowinsoftware.com. So without further ado, let me ask you, Terry, are there any questions from people?
Yeah, the first question I have is, how do we get started improving our territory planning process?
Yes, that's a great question, and one that a lot of people ask. And so there are a few things and a few simple things that you can do to do that. So first, you want to take a look at what you're currently doing and looking at what's working, what's not working, and identifying maybe a few things that you want to do differently. Again, maybe codify your planning process a little bit more, build it into the calendar. Make sure that everyone is creating a plan, review it with them, make sure they understand what is needed in a plan, communicate your objectives as to why you are actually having people create a plan, and help people execute on it. And then identify what's working well. Have people from the team share with other people on the team what they've done that has worked well that, again, the team can use. And then celebrate successes, which is really great and important in creating momentum going forward.
Great. And the next question is, how detailed do territory plans need to be?
Well, that's something that we really try to make a point of trying to have the right balance of enough information that it's powerful and not so much information that it gets to be onerous or too difficult and people don't want to do it. So, we talked about the 8 elements. Certainly you want to make sure it's goal-driven. You want to make sure you have an analysis of the marketplace. You've got some good strategies. At first, if people have a lot of accounts, just have them do a strategy for 1 or 2 accounts and then add to that. If they have a lot of opportunities, again, have them create strategies for a few and build on that. And then really use the plan to allocate the resources. People will see if the plan is what is reviewed to get access to important resources, that will be a big driver for using the plan. And then finally, continue to use the process and improve it as you go. Well, I just want to thank everyone for taking time out of your day to join us. We are recording this, and we will send you a link so that you can get access to it. And also feel free to go to our website, access the resources there. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Good luck in producing the best results possible in your sales territories.
That concludes our